What up, guys? It's April 16th, 2010, and today, as promised, I have some NBA playoff predictions all the way up to the finals. Alright, first off, since I had both Cleveland and Miami winning, they would be the second round matchup. Not much really to say about this series. I have Cleveland in 5 just because I think D Wade could pull off one, and LeBron could have a bad night. And, if LeBron's supporting cast doesn't show up one time, then, they could lose a game. But other than that, Cleveland's just too strong for him, too physical, too big in the post. All they have, it's like Jermaine O'Neal and Michael Beasley against, like, Shaq and Antoine Jameson. There's no real comparison there. Um, and then the second matchup in the East would be Atlanta-Orlando. More intriguing series. However, I do expect Orlando to pull it off in 6. I do expect the Hawks to get a couple because they're a good team. They'll get a couple at home. They're one of the best home teams in the NBA. But other than that, Orlando just Dwight Howard, too much of a presence for Al Horford, too much three-point shooting. And, good defenders like Barnes just shutting down Crawford and Joe Johnson. I just see Orlando winning the series ultimately. So we shift to the conference finals, which would be Cleveland-Orlando again. And instead of Orlando winning this time, I got Cleveland in 6. Just because I think Orlando can, win some home games, get some home court three-point shooting, but ultimately I think Cleveland's too strong this year for Orlando to win it again. I think they solved the whole guarding Dwight Howard thing with Shaq, and Antoine Jameson gives them another score to kind of match Rashard Lewis's production. So hopefully, and then Mo Williams and Jameer Nelson kind of even out. So it looks like Cleveland would be in the finals then. So we shift to the West, probably the best matchup this early in the playoffs. LA Denver. I have this going 7. I have this going complete series because Denver is probably, even though record-wise they're not the second best team, I think they're the second best team in the West, even better than my Mavericks, just because of the personnel they have. They're deep. They have a good bench scorer in J.R. Smith. They defend well, and then Carmelo can get hot any night and score, 40, 50. So I looked for that to go 7, but ultimately home court advantage, for Game 7 and Kobe being the best closer in the game, you got to give the edge to LA. The other game would be Phoenix-Dallas. I have to give it to my Dallas team in 5. I have them only going 5 just because I think that they played each other enough that they know how each other plays. They kind of both have a run and gun up tempo type of play, and I just think the size and like the inside presence of Dirk and now Brendan Haywood is just Brendan Hayward is just too much for Phoenix to handle. They'll get a game. It might even be a blowout. Like I could picture that happening. Phoenix just getting a blowout win, and everybody thinking the series is gonna shift. But I say Dallas wins it in 5. All right, so then the conference finals there would be Dallas-LA, and this is when I have to go upset and my own bias and go Dallas in this one. I'm going Dallas in 6. I just think that LA is just going to be tired. I think they're going to be challenged by the depth of Dallas, even though they're deep. Usually that's their advantage that they're deep, but then when they face another deep team like Dallas, I just think that evens out. And plus, when Kobe takes over 25 shots a game, they have a losing record. So he's going to try to take over the series. He's going to try to do too much. They're going to get mad at each other like they sometimes do. And I think they'll fall apart, and Dallas will win it in 6. So that means the finals would be Dallas-Cleveland. Unfortunately, for my biased towards Dallas, I have Cleveland winning in 6. Just because I think LeBron, he wants it too bad. This is his year, right before his contract is up. He wants to win a championship. And I just think, Dallas by then, I don't know. I don't think they could handle the athleticism that Cleveland brings to the table. I mean, especially with Shaq down low, being guarded by Hayward probably, and then Dirk having to maybe guard Shaq, maybe guard Antoine Jameson. And I don't know, they just don't really match up well, especially if you have to put, like, say, Caron Butler on LeBron. I don't know. It's just not, I don't see it happening. And plus, I think Mo Williams could go off for like 30 or so against Jason Kidd just because he's more athletic. He can get his shots. So ultimately, I think Cleveland is going to win the NBA championship against Dallas. So it's probably the first prediction that had Cleveland Dallas. So it's right here. So if it's right, you can comment and be like, Kyle, you were right. And I'll say, I knew it all along. And then if I'm wrong, I'll be like, that's why it's a prediction. Like every other sportscaster does. The next thing I want to talk about, recent trade. It probably happened like a couple hours ago. Ted Ginn going from the Dolphins to the 49ers for a 5th-round pick. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me in terms of the Dolphins. I mean, yeah, you gave up 2 second-round picks, one being next year, though, to Denver when you got Brandon Marshall. But why, A, get a 5th-round pick for Ted Ginn? I mean, just that by itself. I mean, you're not going to find anybody better in the 5th round than Ted Ginn. I mean, even as just a return man. Also, I think it's dumb because you want other guys that have talent around Brandon Marshall so then they can get their catches. Like Camarillo or whatever his name is. I probably said that wrong. And Anthony Fasano. They need those guys, and if they had Ted Ginn, they would have those guys to get open when Brandon Marshall's getting doubled. So I don't know why you would trade this. I think it's probably the dumbest move of this offseason. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I know it probably doesn't seem like a big deal because you're like Ted Ginn, not really an impact player, but I think it's a big deal. I think that kind of brought Miami down a notch in my book. Because I thought maybe that would give Ted Ginn his opportunity to get some street cred with his receiving game. But I guess not. So I can't say I feel as strongly about the Dolphins as I did yesterday. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the Ben Roethlisberger case kind of coming to a close. It looks like no charges are going to be filed, but he is going to get fined and suspended by the combination of the league and the Steelers. The only problem I have with this is it seems like with athletes and dealings that you would consider shady, usually if it's shady looking, like the greatest golfer in the world crashing his SUV in his front lawn, usually it's going to be shady. I mean, I just can't. I mean, from what I understand in the story is that like his bodyguards were guarding the door so no one was going to get in. He said it was consensual, but she said he told him to stop. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a money grab by her, but even if it is, this is just a shady dealing. And I mean, I'm definitely okay with him getting suspended. I'm definitely okay with him getting fined. I just think more could have been done on the justice side. I mean, I'm not saying he's guilty. Obviously, you're innocent until proven guilty. But as I said, if it looks shady, it usually is. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or any comments, anything you want me to talk about, just send them in the comments bar down there. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow's Saturday, so no show tomorrow. But Monday, new show on Monday. Have a great weekend, guys.